Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to Doubles and Trebles. We are live, and you may have noticed it's not just the two of us tonight. We've got a very special guest on, joining us for our Thursday Royal Ascot preview. Mick Doonan joins us, along with myself, Matthew Hill, and Adam Smith. I'm going to be running through the races. We'd love to hear from you in the chat box, what you're thinking about tomorrow's action. Pretty tough day for Adam. I mean, I think you returned a small profit again, but the nap getting left in the stall, Smith, or not ideal.
Yeah, small loss on today, Pie Man.
Small loss.
A record 14 points staked and 8.2 points returned. So for the week, we're only 1.5 points behind. There was a couple of absolute stinkers today. Don't get me wrong. Maspoda, stinker, and others. Astro King was the most unlucky selection we've had this week, given that they split into two in the Hunt Cup, as they often do. The one far side won easily by 4.5 lengths, but the second horse was Astro King, my selection. On completely the opposite side, won his side of the race, if you like, by 2 lengths. We've been here before, having winners on the apparent wrong side of the race, but yeah, that was really unlucky. I mean, I backed it 10-1, put it up at 7-1 last night. It's gone off 11-2, travelled lovely. Like I say, finished in front of every other horse on his side of the track, but failed to win, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we've obviously got, Centre Circle podcast already in the chat box. I was going to say get your comments in the chat box and just asking whether Stunning Beauty was declared a non-runner or not. I don't think it was officially, but some bookies may have refunded.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I'm eating pizza.
That's all right, yeah.
Stunning Beauty was a runner. The stores opened. The race started. Some bookmakers gave money back. In the description yesterday, I quoted William Hill as the price. When I was giving the selection, they actually refunded the money. So anyone that followed the advice last night to a T would have got the money back. Unfortunately, I was pissed off, basically.
Well, we're going to crack on to tomorrow's racing. Plenty to get through. Starting with the Norfolk, I'm going to hand it over to you, Smido, to go through your thoughts first, and then I'm going to bring Mick in for his thoughts as well. So it'd be nice to have a couple of different opinions potentially on the races. But firstly, the Norfolk over the minimum trip for 2-year-olds, a Group 2. Thoughts on this one?
Similar to the Windsor Castle, which took place on Wednesday, but this is at Group 2 level. The Windsor Castle was at listed level. 16 runners there's a maximum of 28, so it's one of the least fulfilled races this week, if you like, in terms of maximum runners. Good luck to anyone that can pick the winner, to be honest with you. There's only pretty much only 3 or 4 horses in single figures. Wesley Ward, obviously, as at least one of them in Lukey. But so far he's got he's got another runner called Nakatomi that's 10-1 as well. So far this week, the Ignore Wesley Ward horses has worked pretty well. He had a couple of places there. I think he had 2 of the first 4 in the Queen Mary, but for win purposes, that's worked pretty well. I have been walking a dangerous tightrope, if you like, with that, because he has come close. I do like one in this though, Pie Man. Twilight Jet is the one for me. Won't mind any rain. We better mention the rain while we're at it. There's a weather warning this evening. With rain overnight into Thursday, but not as much as was first forecast earlier on in the week. They were talking about biblical conditions. I don't think that's quite going to happen. It is officially good to firm. What you've got to remember is Ascot last week were putting 10 mil on the track every day. They were watering every day last week, including to Monday, 10 mil per day, just to keep it at good to firm in places. So if they have 30 mil overnight, it's not exactly going to be unraceable heavy, like being at Cheltenham tomorrow. I think if they was putting 10 mil on anyway to maintain good to firm in places, it's now good to firm. So I think, they would have, in normal circumstances, they'll be putting 15 on anyway. So anyway, that's enough of today's weather forecast, but it's certainly something that we're taking into consideration with our selections. Twilight Jet is the selection. I thought it was slightly unlucky on his second start, which was a Group 3. In Ireland, the form of that race has been boosted already this week by a horse called Masetto, who finished 4th in the Coventry. Twilight Jet is dropped back down to 5 furlong in a lesser race last time, won comfortably enough, even though he had to race on his own for much of the way. That was also in Ireland. He's 18-1, 4 places. I think that looks generous in a race packed with unknowns. Like I say, he's already ran in that group race. I think he's got a fair enough shout. That's Twilight Jet. The second selection, if I had to give one, but won't be an official one, but just a shout out to Second Wind, would be a close second choice if I had to make one. He's unbeaten in 2 starts. William Haggis and Tom Marquand, they're the 2 for me.
Yeah, so value selection then, former Twilight Jet 18-1. You are getting the 4 places, the extra places with 1 supplier, so have a look there. Mick, good time to bring you in. Thanks for coming on. Always good to have a guest on. And what are your thoughts on this race on the Norfolk?
I'm glad Adam mentioned Second Wind. He was due to running the race in my selection. He was a non-runner, but Project Dante won the race at York. I really fancy him. Everything's won coming out the race since, apart from Jungle Bee and Cat Corner in the last 2, but they finished second and third in races. There's 5 winners from that one maiden at York. It was well gambled down as well. I really like it. It's 15-2. Very smart for them. A bit bad at the moment, but at 15-2, it's coming in all the time. I really fancy it. Graham Lee is a couple of pounds of a hindrance, but I think he can go really well.
I think Graham Lee rode a place in the last race today, Doonan. But yeah, I did spot Project Dante myself, and like you say, the form of his maiden win at York's working out really well. I definitely wouldn't argue with that selection.
Plenty of money for it as well. Opened up 11s earlier today in the on the day of the race markets, and already into 7s. Bit of 15-2 available, as Mick says. So that's Project Dante, and it was Twilight Jet for yourself, Adam, I think. Yeah, I'm going to move us on then. Move us on to race 2. My odds checker will load up to Hampton Court Stakes over 1 mile 2 furlongs to Group 3 for 3-year-olds. And Mohafeth, probably the one to talk about here, Smido.
Oh, he's pretty much all about one horse, and that is Mohafeth. He was drawn from the Derby less than an hour before the race. It's the biggest race in the world of flat racing. The ground was drying. It was good to soft from the previous day, and it was drying. It was a scorching day. I was there. He was third favourite at the time, and the trainer or owner or whoever has taken the decision to withdraw him, I think it was absolutely crazy to do so. And now they're going to look at this race, which is a Group 3, and he's obviously favourite. And there could be, there's been rain forecast overnight, as we've touched on. Same could happen again. Is if it trickles in the morning, are they going to withdraw him? Mohafeth, if he runs, has got to win this race doing handstands. He has to, because they've made that decision not to run in the Derby I don't know, did they think it was dangerous? I don't know. We could be there all day talking about it. I thought it was a ludicrous decision, but I think there's a solid one in here, Pieman, and I think it's One Ruler. He's 11-2 each way, 4 places with Sky. The Guinea, he ran in the Guineas. He was favourite for that at one time in the anti-Boast markets, as we've spoke about before on this channel. The Guineas was too short of a distance. The Derby was too long of a distance. So this 10 furlong should be fine. I spoke to my mate William Buick today, and I said, about the 10 furlongs, and he says, yeah, should be about right. It was a very brief conversation, I must say. But yeah, the Fav might be very good, Pieman. Mohafeth might be very good, and he might waz in this race. But I ain't backing him at 15-8 with the forecast. I think One Ruler is definitely the best of the rest. I think it doesn't look a deep race away from the favourite and One Ruler, if you ask me. And if One Ruler can't finish in the top 4 here, I think he should basically pack up.
Mick, do you agree with that?
Yeah, kind of. I like the favourite, but I disagree with One Ruler. He's been so disappointing this year for all the money it came for him for the Guineas, and then ran in the Derby. Supposed to be Godolphin's #1, and it's just no worked out for him. But I'm going to go for an outsider Matchless. Back on good ground, as you say, it's maybe not going to get so much rain, but ran on heavy ground twice this year. It was in the Eden O'Brien stable tour. I'd want to watch. I think Roman Empire is going to. I don't know. He's 91. I can't see him being placed again. I'm not change the tactics probably, so they'll not go away at the front like he did at the Dante. And riding them different doesn't work. I don't think it works like that. So I agree the favourite should probably win, but 4th places are 41 for Matchless is one I like.
Yeah,
massive price.
Outsider of the field as we speak, Matchless 40 to 1. You'd take the extra place, I presume, Mick. Yeah, 4 places.
Yes, the Sky Bet, 4 places.
Yeah. There it is, so 40
Mick.
to 1 matchless. I mean, he's bringing the big outsiders to the party. Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm going to move it on again then. Do keep your chats coming in the chat box. Got Brendan Smith in the chat tonight, so and Centre Circle podcast being there as well. Do keep them flowing in. If you've got any questions or your own thoughts on the races, we will get to them after we've done our card run through, as is standard. Next up is the Ribblesdale, over 1 mile 3, and we've got 13 runners here with Noon Star leading the betting at 5 to 2. Smido, where's your fancy here?
Yeah, 1 mile 3 and quite a lot. So it's just under 1 mile 4, Pyman. I'll forgive you that mistake because it is a bit confusing. 1 mile 3 and 211 yards. It's basically 1 mile 4. This is a very, very good race. It's a Group 2. It's basically the Ascot Oaks, if you like. A lot of these were potential Oaks horses at the turn of the year. Not that many ran in the actual Oaks. Divinely and Dubai Fountain did. I don't know whether there was any more further down. Noon Star and Divinely have got form behind the Oaks winner Snowfall, but in different races. I thought Divinely ran a blinder in the Oaks itself from an unfavourable position. She was one of the last off the bridle, probably second last off the bridle, only behind the winner in which won by 16 lengths. Yeah, I thought that was certainly a performance to note. She's drifting a bit in the market, to be fair, Divinely. Noon Star, meanwhile, finished second behind Snowfall in the Musadora, skipped the Oaks. She was disappointed in the Musadora, even though she was second. There was just something amiss that day. She kind of drifted across the track a little bit and she just it didn't sparkle, let's say. Also near the top of the market is a horse that provided doubles and trebles with their best triumph yet on the horses, Eshada. Some hopefully followers will remember her. She won at 18 to 1 in the last race in listed company at Newbury. I see little reason not to back her again, to be honest. She was impressive that time. She's been earmarked for this race at Ascot for some time. You can't say the same. You can't say that about Noon Star and Divinely. This is a bit of an afterthought after the Oaks, which is fine. The Oaks is a Group 1. This is a Group 2. But the shot has been laid out for this for 2 or 3 months, according to the Varian Stable Tour. But I am going to disappoint you a little bit, Pyman. I'm going to say that this is a no-bet race for me. I just can't split the likes of Ishada and Divinely. I can't split them. I don't know. I mean, maybe play up a forecast or something. I don't know, but it'll be a no-bet. I can't split them. I think Noon Star could still be good, but I wouldn't back her. And I think Gloria Mundi, that finished second behind Ishada, only a neck, also could be good. But I do think Ishada and Divinely are going to fight this one out, personally.
There you go, then. No bet for Smido, but I've got a feeling Mick might have a selection for us in this one.
Gloria Monday for me. An extra 2 furlongs that Ishada has to try and stay. It's by Muhara. Sprinter has 6 furlong sprinter.
Yeah. Fair comment.
I think that they too, this has kind of been the target with others have been the Oaks, as Adam says, but I think you're probably better missing the Oaks to come to this race. There's so many horses go to it. Some run well, but never turn up here. So for me, the extra 2 furlongs for me for Gloria Monday, 11 to 2, it's a big price.
Yeah, it does look a big price. Seems like both are taking on Noon Star. No bet for Adam, but Gloria Monday for Mick. Another decent value selection there for you if you're following. Do keep your chats, comments coming in. We will get to them, but now we move on to the Gold Cup, a race I'm going to safely assume that Adam has absolutely no interest in.
Yeah, that's 100% correct.
Yeah, well, Mick, can you save the day with the Gold Cup? I mean, Stradivarius in there at 6 to 5, Trushan 4 to 1, Subjective is 13 to 2, and it's pretty much name your price the rest.
Outside, I go for an outsider again in here.
Good.
Sorry for the Irish people, but Aromna Rian, third in the Derby last year, it's been crying out for a trip. 40 to 1 with Lordan's on it. I think it's going to get 4 places with Sky Bet. So with that will be a pacemaker. That'll try to set the race up to just stay in the 4 places. There's so many of them in this race, like Princess Way, Emperor of Sun, Twilight Jet. They didn't day in for me in this kind of race. I think Stradivarius will probably win, but I always take him on and always lose. So that would be the one for me to run the rain each way.
Tell you what, Mick, I like the price, but I don't like the name. I'm not going to even try and pronounce that one, I don't think. But it's number 7 on your race cards there. I'll
give a shout out in the. There'll be SD will be in the chat, no doubt. He's texted me this evening. He's looking at Naif Road, second in this race last year, I think. Oh, third in this race last year, only 1.5 lengths behind Strad. He's looking at playing Naif Road in the without fav markets, the each way extras, extra places, etc. He tells me that Mark Johnston's in form, and he says that Naif Road's a decent bet in this. I couldn't care any less if I'm honest with you.
Might be the way to play it, looking for that horse to pick up the pieces in the places, because with that extra place for 4th, you are kind of looking at anything 14s and above that's going to nick a place, at least one of them, potentially 2 of them. So that might be the way to play this one if you're not interested in the top of the market. But an interesting selection from Mick there. As I say, I'm not going to try and pronounce it. You all know which one I'm referring to on the race card. Number 7. Moving it on then, do keep them chats coming in. We'll get to that. We've only got 3 more races to run through. And if you thought that previous races were competitive, then we are moving on to a fairly hefty field here, the Britannia Stakes. Adam, hand it over to you for this one.
Well, there's been some impossible races this week, Pieman, such as the Royal Hunt Cup, the Windsor Castle that we've touched on, but this could top the lot. I mean, there's 30 unexposed 3-year-old handicappers here. It's 5 to 1 the fields. You know, there's only 3 horses quoted under 10 to 1 at the minute at single figure odds. I'm going to throw 2 darts at this one, as I have been doing in some of the big field races this week. One of them has been easily found in the market, and I won't get any credit for originality, but Ear to Ear is second favourite at 7 to 1. I think you can get 8 to 1 4 places if you're lucky. Absolutely wazzed in 2 races this year so far. The marriage with Jamie Spencer seems to be a match made in heaven, to be honest with you. He's going to sit out the back on this straight mile. He rides it very well, Spencer. Everyone knows that, and he's going to try and weave his way through traffic and finish well late on. He's 29, so he's off joint bottom weight. The clues are there, and he's been well found in the market. So he will be one official selection, but I do actually fancy one here, Pieman, and there's been a little bit of support for it. I think it's Liffey River, trained by Joseph O'Brien. I think young Joseph has only had 1 runner in this race in his short training career, and it was 5th at 50 to 1 in 2019. That horse was called Numerian, and he was actually on the day unlucky not to go closer. Numerian's gone on and I think performed. You know, I think he's won a listed race, placed in the Group 3, so he was pretty turned out to be better than a handicapper, put it that way. But yeah, Liffey River, I do quite fancy it. Is a full brother to Lope Fernandez, who we saw finish second in the Group 1 Queen Anne on Tuesday. Well. He's a half brother to Dark Vision, who won the Royal Hunt Cup here last year. He was good enough to be tried in an Irish Group 2 on just his 3rd start and went off only 13 to 2 for that. And there was some Aidan O'Brien runners in there as well. So, you know, he's gone off 13 to 2. That's a signal of intent there. He got nowhere near winning that, but like I say, it was a signal of intent. I thought he ran perfectly well on his last start at the Curragh this year. So on 22nd of May, he ran at the Curragh. I thought he ran perfectly well there. Finished second. I think the winner of that day just got away from the front. I think he will appreciate quicker ground if we get a bit of luck with the weather, but not that I would fear the rain. But I think, you know, Lope Fernandez, quicker ground horse, Dark Vision, quicker ground horse, they're his siblings. I think anything good or better would be a bonus. He ran on heavy last time and soft the time before. He was as big as 22 to 1 when I wrote these notes, but I think you can get about 16 to 1 4 places now. I quite fancy Liffey River to run well.
There you go. Am I right in saying 2 selections in that race then?
2 for me, yeah. Ear to Ear is an obvious one each way, but I do think he's simply well handicapped and he's made for this race, if you ask me. And then Liffey River would be the more confident selection. But 1 point each way on the pair of them, as is standard for doubles and trebles.
Yeah. Mick, anything taking your eye in the Britannia?
And there's 2 that take my eye. One is Royal Air Force. That started off in the Craven this year. 393 running a handicap next. It's maybe one to follow. 93 is quite I think it's a 100 rated horse. It's got a wee bit of play there. But the one that I really fancy is Dino or Dinu, the one at Roger Berry, number 17. Made had 3 runs. One at Newmarket was beat by the Baby. It was that's 103. Then it was beat by Tony in the Swario Stakes. It's a 2-year-old. Just behind Dubai Fountain, he's rated 108 there. And it's one race this year. It ran at Wolverhampton. Fell at the stalls, awkward start, soon midfield, could not reach the leaders, beaten 5 lengths. Off a mark in 93, plenty room in there. I'm surprised that they're going this way, maybe going a maiden and trying to keep the mark. But I suppose go for to go into the Britannia up in 93 as a maiden, I think it's got a good chance.
I looked at that horse, Doones, and it's had 3 starts. He's been slowly into stride twice and awkward on the last start, as you alluded to. That doesn't fill me with confidence, but I do think he is dangerously handicapped, and like you say, maybe one to follow.
Well, definitely one to follow if it gets out the stalls then, by the sound of that one. But yeah, another wide open affair and some interesting opinions offered there and some good selections for you. Do let me know what your selections are and let me know your best bets for tomorrow in the comment section. We've only got a couple of races still to run through. Good to see Andy Humphrey in the house. And I think, Andy, I might be right in saying you may have mentioned David Loughnane's Lola Showgirl on yesterday's video. Is that correct? I think that won.
Hump in the chat this week's had a few good ones. I think he put that Dubious Affair that finished second, only just denied at a big price. No doubt for the Friday preview, we'll be putting up the French horse in the Commonwealth. So, yeah, one to follow in the comments.
Andy Humphrey angling for a guest appearance as well on this form. But, yeah, there we go. So, do keep your selections coming in the comments. Always good to hear what you're backing as well. We've got 2 more races to look at. One of them is the King George. And I think from talking to the fellas earlier that there isn't a lot of strong opinions in this race. Smido, am I right in saying that for you?
Yeah, I just think it's pretty difficult, really. I mean, there's 5 or 6 horses between 5 and 10 to 1-ish. This Sir Lamorak was talked up as a possible Derby contender after he won a handicap at Leopardstown very impressively in early April. Apparently, he was good on the clock that day as well for the guys that look at the clock. It's just a bit of a surprise we've not seen him since then. He was scratched from the Derby at the 5-day stage. At the final deck stage. So, but he's going to have to be good to win this race off opening mark of 100 or a UK mark of 100, if you like. That's £15 higher than the mark that he won on at Leopardstown in the handicap. So he's going to have to be really good. I was looking elsewhere. I just couldn't get hold of anything. I mean, I was looking at First Light possibly, but he's come in. He was 8 to 1. Would have interested me. Now he's only 5. You know, I'm behind on the selections this week and on the points scored, Pie Man. So I'm just playing it safe, and this will be a no-bet race for me, unfortunately.
And it's the same for yourself, Mick. I think you were saying you couldn't really work this one up.
Yeah, it's the exact same as I don't say still on the rope, but it's very short for in a field where there's no much between any of them. It could be very messy race and things like that. That would be no bet race for me.
Yeah, no bet race for both of the lads, and that moves us on swiftly.
I mean, if that Salamarak was that good, he won't be running in a handicap. Like they're running him in a handicap. You know, they're not in it to be winning handicap prize money. These boys. He's not been seen since April the 11th. He could have gone to the Dante. He could have gone to the Derby. He could have gone for multiple group races this week. He could be running with Mustardef in the second race that we've mentioned, and he's not. So, trappy race, 19 runners. Like Doon says, there's going to be unlucky stories because you have to go around a bend pretty early in those races, I think. A lot of them are 3-year-olds unexposed. Too many question marks to make a solid selection for me.
No solid selection from the lads, but we have had one in the chat box. Andy Humphrey, the man in form, has said keep an eye out for Kondo Isami tomorrow. Kondo Isami, currently available 14 to 1 4 places, 12 to 1 6 places. So that seems about
the Mark Johnston trained horse. Yeah, I think
seems about the most convincing opinion we've got on this race out of anybody. So
yeah, fair play.
Gonna roll with that. And always nice to have an opinion in there. And the last race tomorrow is the Buckingham Palace Stakes. This is another handicap and another difficult affair over 7 furlongs, and it's a 32 runner field. Adam, where are you going on this one?
I think there's one that stands out for me here. There won't be 30 runners when they go to post. There'll only be 30. Two of them quoted are reserves. There's one stands out here. It does not want a deluge of rain, but we're not quite sure what's going to happen. Depending on what forecast you look at, maybe wait until tomorrow afternoon before placing your bet. But Blue Mist stands out. Was entered in the Hunt Cup over a mile. Didn't run in that race. Good, because he's better over 7 furlongs. He's got a great record at Ascot. He's been tried over a mile on his last 3 runs, which I think is just a bit too far. Strong traveller. His profile does suggest he goes on all types of grounds, but I think he would prefer it, on the quicker side. But if there is rain, it's not a massive worry. His form certainly reads like an unreliable horse. Don't get me wrong. His recent form 2, 9, 1, 9, 18, 10. That's built into the price, but. He's 16 to 1. I think he should be shorter than that. I think he should definitely be single figures. You can get 7 places.
It's quite easy to back as well. I mean, he might go bigger, yeah.
Yeah, you can get 7 places, 16 to 1 Blue Mist. I wouldn't, I'm really quite interested in that. Anything, good to soft, fine. Anything that gets towards heavy, would be a worry. But as I've said in a few of these, Pieman, 29 runners there will be. You need, you often need 2 darts at this. And the other one I'm looking at is a bit further down in the price, is 33 to 1-ish. Karibana. It's just a horse that I think has got more to offer. Trained by Richard Hughes, going to be ridden by his mate Pat Dobbs. I just think he travelled pretty well on his seasonal debut over course and distance. I don't think he was fully tried that day by the apprentice. Possibly not fit first time up, but he travelled okay. Then he went to Chelmsford. William Buick rode him that day. He won a shade cosily for me, Pieman. He was four wide round the bend, which is not the place to be at the Essex venue. He's gone up £4 for that win. He's nicely enough bred, and he's drifting. He's 28 to 1, 7 places. I think that's a stonking each way bet. So I've got 2 pretty strong each way fancies in that race, and if one of them can if they can both hit the frame or one of them can go and win, I'll be happy as Larry.
There you go. Well, yeah, there's certainly plenty of angles to find in this race. Where have your eyes been drawn in this one, Mick?
I'm going to keep it simple here. Bedouin Story. I've been to there. I've been to there for 7 winners in the last 14 days. I think he's only had 14 all season. Because half his winners came in the last 2 weeks. According to today's first that ran away with the race. Same kind of profile, raced in Maidan. 10 furlong strong back and trip. Back down to 7 today, 12 for tomorrow. 105 Frankie on board. 8 to 1. 4, 5 places, 7 places somewhere.
Yeah, 7 places at Sky, 17 to 2, or you can get 9s with your 5, 6 places. I can't keep 5. Well, there you go, Bedouin Story, then a solid each-way selection, and a couple from Adam as well. Just before I get Smido to run through his selections for the day, do just want to ask everyone who's in the chat, I see we've got double figures in the chat at the moment, a bit quiet tonight, but do let us know what you fancy for tomorrow and any questions you may have for the lads before we wrap up for the evening. But yeah, Adam, if you could just run us through the official selections for doubles and trebles, follow us, please.
Yeah, I'll be putting them in the description as normal. A couple of these prices have changed even since we've come on here. But yeah, 2:30 race number 1, Twilight Jet, 18 to 1 each way, 4 places. That's with Hills. One ruler in the 305. If he's not finishing in the top 4, I think he should be packing up racing. He's 11 to 2 each way, 4 places. Sky. There's 2 in the Britannia I'm going with. Ear to Ear is the obvious one. He's 7 to 1 each way, 4 places. Liffey River is the more confident one in that race, 16 to 1 each way, 4 places. That's general. And then in the last race, I'm putting up 2 darts as well. Blue Mist, too big, 16 to 1 each way, 7 places. And Karibana is now 28 to 1 each way, 7 places. Both of them are bigger than what they were when I wrote my notes, which I've not said often this week. Usually they've been coming in, which is a good sign. But these 2 are going out. If one of them don't hit the frame, I'll be disappointed. Put it that way. But yeah, all selections in the description as always.
Well, there you go. There, the official selections. They will be added to the description. And Mick, I know you've run through a few of your selections, but if I had to push you for a nap tomorrow on today's action, where do you think you'd be going?
Bedouin Story in the last.
You would be, yeah, in the lucky last. I'm sensing you're quite keen on that one.
Frankie in the last. somebody else when I first got into racing, Frankie they stays a bit to the last race. He's always there to win it.
I still find it mad that Saeed bin Saror refuses to use William Buick and James Doyle to the extent whereby he's gone back to Frankie, who unceremoniously left the same organisation about 4 years ago, and bin Saror's back using it. I just find it nuts. The lengths bin Saror goes to avoid using Doyle and Buick is crazy. I don't know how he gets away with it, to be honest. Maybe one for another day, Prime.
Yeah, maybe indeed. But we have had a couple of comments in, not as many as previous evenings, but I am aware that there's some football going on in the background, which may be distracting a few of our viewers. But Andy Humphrey asks, thoughts on ad infinitum in the Ribblesdale for David Simcock?
Right, hold the line. I thought it was... that's the one that won at Goodwood when I was there, I think 21st of May-ish, in the Height of Fashion Stakes, showing my memory skills here. Was the outsider of the field on the day, ridden by Spencer. I didn't think that was great form, to be honest. And I think I would be surprised, I know this is quite obvious, but I would be pretty surprised if the top four in this market didn't dominate this race.
There you are then, Andy. Hopefully that answers your question. Brendan Smith says that a boardman is not finished improving yet. I think that was in the Lucky Lass, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's one that I've noted, but off the top of my head, I was against it for some reason. Yeah. Possibly the price, and it's a lot different when these northern horses come down south. It's a different kettle of fish.
Mm-hmm. And a mention for Laura Pearson earlier in the chat. I mean, fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I saw Dale mention that. So it was interesting today. There was two big price winners later in the day. The Hunt Cup winner that Doonan backed, and the winner in the last, trained by David Locklane and trained by ridden by Laura Pearson. Both Marco Gianni, who rode the Hunt Cup winner, and Laura Pearson, they only had one ride today at Ascot, and they both won. It was Marco Gianni is a right little character, to be honest. A really nice young lad. And Laura Pearson, yeah, I saw her. She was knocking about. She was weighed out, ready to go, way before the last race. Ready in a suit, was just stood there all nice and quiet. And yeah, there was quite a reaction when she came back into the parade ring, having won. But the biggest reaction, crowd reaction today, was for when Chipolate won for Harrington. Eve Johnson and Charlie Bishop. There was a big reaction from the crowd for those guys when they won 22-1. That was
popular winner. And just before we wrap it up, I think while I've got you, Mick, is there any other horses that you fancy later in the week that you would like to give a mention to while you're on?
I know it's on the original, but I did put in the comments a few weeks ago, Suesa, that'll win the Commonwealth Cup.
You did, yeah. Humps on that as well, I think. Doonan did say that he was 20-1 at the time.
Yeah.
I think that'll probably go off favourite, particularly with the rain. I still like Dragon Symbol in that. If we can avoid a deluge in the south of England, I still like Dragon Symbol, but it's a great race. I think there's 21 runners declared. It'll be the biggest Group 1 field this year, that Commonwealth Cup will be. Mm-hmm. Friday's a brilliant day of racing, Pineman. That Coronation Cup with the fillies is a great race. The Commonwealth Cup's always a good race. Very, very good day of racing Friday.
Yeah, very good. Well, thoroughly enjoyed that. Thanks very much, Mick, for joining us. Always good to have guests on, and enjoyed the insight. And we'll be following your tips tomorrow, along with your Smido, hopefully for getting back in front. You're due a winner. I think you've hit the bar a couple of times with a couple of your selections at bigger prices. So maybe tomorrow's the day that you can bang a couple in. Just a little nudge for the darts. We had a winner for a third consecutive day earlier in a bizarre set of circumstances. Don't know what's going on there. We've followed up the 28-1 and 25-1 winners with the 10-1 winner today. So last day of action tomorrow. We'll see if we can get the full house in. Really is unprecedented scenes in terms of these winners that we're pumping out on the channel at the moment. But anyway, nice to find a bit of form occasionally, isn't it? So thanks very much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow to preview at least Friday's action and potentially Saturday as well. Watch this space. So thanks very much for your comments. Cheers for watching, and we'll all see you